Morning, students. Let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, this is the D2L page, the top of the D2L page for our class. And I'm going to start by pushing the content button. And on the left, I'm going to go down to the box labeled class project. Click on that. The first one under that is Greenland project assignment. We won't be reviewing that in this video. What we will do, though, is if you go down to the third element there, it's called Greenland Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to click on that, and notice that the right-hand pane actually opens the spreadsheet, but we don't want to actually work in that. We can't work in that. What we have to do is go up to these three buttons up top here, where if you hover over it, it says options. If you click on that, one of the options is to download. So I downloaded, and I get a list of downloads. The very top of the list is this Greenland one. And if I go up here and click on it, it will open Excel. So here is that spreadsheet in Excel. And the three columns of data that we're going to be working with appear right here. I've preloaded these into Excel for you. There's a column labeled time, another one labeled Greenland mass, and then in parentheses GT, which stands for gigatons. And then a column called 1 sigma uncertainty, which is a statistical measure of the quality of the data. And we will not be using that column in this project. The Greenland mass in gigatons, it's actually Greenland ice mass loss in gigatons. So we could actually change that, or what we can do is we'll make a chart, and this will become the title of the chart, and we can then edit it when we get into the chart. So to make a chart, we want to select the first two columns of data. So if I put my mouse cursor over the time header, click and hold, and while I'm holding the left mouse button, I'm going to drag all the way down to the bottom of the data set. It's a long data set. And in this column, you see it's the year dot and then a decimal portion of the year when these data samples were taken. Still working our way to the bottom. There's the bottom, and with my finger still on the mouse button, the left mouse button, I'm going to drag it over one column so that we have both first and second columns selected. And now I'm going to let up on the left mouse button. That leaves these two columns selected. Now I'm going to use my scroll wheel. I'm going to go back up to the top. And up to the top, I need to enable editing. So if I enable editing, the selection will go away. So we'll repeat that very quickly here. Okay, reselected. Scroll bar back up to the top. And now we'd like to place a chart. If you go up to the top set of menus where it says File, Home, and then Insert, if you click on Insert, just click and let up, a series of menus pops up right below that. And in those menus, about not quite halfway across, there's a whole series called charts. One of the charts is right above the word charts is one that shows a bunch of dots with a down arrow. That down arrow is a pointer to a submenu. So I'm going to click and hold on that down arrow, and up pops the choices for charts that I can get underneath this submenu. I'm going to take as I move the mouse cursor around, Excel will actually pop up what the chart is going to look like versus whether I take that selection or not. Here's bubbles, 3D bubbles that doesn't do anything. What I'm going to take is this third chart in the first row, and I'm going to let up on the left mouse button, and it leaves the chart there for me. The chart comes up with selection bubbles all the way around the outside border. And one of the things that I'm going to do first is if I put my cursor inside of that top banner for the chart, click and hold the left mouse button and drag, it will drag the chart to any place I want to put it. I'm going to put it somewhere like right there, and it's still selected. Now I'd like to go to the bottom right-hand corner bubble and hold the mouse over it, and the cursor changes to these arrows pointing up, left, and down, right. If I click, it turns into a crosshair. I'm still holding the mouse button down. If I now drag, it will actually make the chart bigger. And when you get it to a size where you'd like to work with, just let up on the mouse button, and there's the chart of the data. Now notice that the second header, the Greenland mass gigaton, that turned out, or Excel turned that into the chart title sitting up here at the top. If I put my mouse over it and just click once and let up, it selects that box. And I'd like to edit that because it's not very descriptive. This is actually a graph of cumulative ice loss. So I'm going to go inside of the that box. I'm going to click right before the word mass, and I'm going to type the word cumulative, ice, and then I'm going to curse over after the word mass and put a space and loss. And now if I just click outside the box, it deselects it. And I have changed the title to something which is actually more descriptive of what the data really is. So what we have plotted here along the horizontal axis is the year from 2000 all the way up to 2030. And notice the graph doesn't start there. It starts at 2002 and goes up to a little past 2025, so into the year 2025. On the vertical axis, we have ice loss in gigatons. So it starts at 0. It goes up as much as 1,000 gigatons and all the way down to 6,000 gigatons. The graph goes not quite down to there. It goes down to 5,000 and a little bit more gigatons. But the graph is kind of nicely centered, and it does use pretty much all of the graph area. So we won't be messing with any of that. What we could use, though, to make this a little bit more descriptive are axis titles. To get axis titles with the graph still selected, we have the selection bubbles around the outside. Go up to the plus box at the upper right, and if I hold the cursor over that, it says chart elements. And if I just click and hold the left mouse button, then let up, I get a submenu. And the second box under the submenu is called axis titles. There is a right pointing arrow. I'm going to click on that and let up. And then there is a primary horizontal and a primary vertical. I'm going to check both of those, click and click, and let up. Now I'm going to go back over to the chart and notice that it gave me a box down here on the bottom called axis title, and it gave me a box over here on the left called axis title that's, kind of in a vertical orientation. Um, we can click inside that box and drag the mouse cursor. Oops. Click inside and then drag the mouse cursor. I want to delete what's there. So hit delete and then backspace. This is gigatons, so I'm going to spell that out. Gigatonnes. So that labels that axis as gigatons of ice loss. And then if I take the cursor and put it back over there again, select it, and then, okay, get this little northeast, west, south cursor, click inside and drag while I'm holding the mouse button. I'm going to move that up to a place where I think is, a little more appropriate, somewhere near the horizontal x-axis. And now let's go work on the one on the bottom. I'm going to click, then I'm going to go inside and click and drag to select all of that text. And this is the year. So I'm going to just spell it out, Y-E-A-R. And then with this still selected, I'm going to get the northeast, west, south menu, click and hold, and I'm going to drag it up to somewhere like in there, somewhere near the axis or the x-axis. So now we've got labels on the axis. We've got a title to the chart. About the only thing left to do in this exercise is to add trend lines. So the chart is still selected. With it still selected, we still get these little boxes up here. And by the way, if I click outside the chart, it unselects the chart and those three boxes disappear. And I need them back. So I'm just going to go inside the chart, click once, it reselects, and these three boxes reappear. And by the way, that middle one is for chart styles, and then the bottom one does filters. We won't be using either of those. We'll go back up to that first one again, and I'm going to click and release. The very bottom selection on this menu is called trendline. There's a right pointing arrow. I'm going to click on the right pointing arrow. We get another sub-menu, and I actually want more options, so I'm going to click on that. That gives us a sub-sub menu. And in this menu, the first type of trend line we can get is a linear. We could also do logarithmic, polynomial, or moving average. We're going to leave it on linear, so that box is selected. The trend line is going to be automatic as opposed to custom. We'll just let the tool make the trend line for us. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this menu. There are two more boxes we want to select. One's called display the equation on the chart, and the other one is called display R squared value on chart. And notice as I selected those, it displayed that information on the chart. The trend line is also there, the linear trend line. So I can go up and close this submenu now with the right upper right corner, that little X, just click on it. It goes away. And I think the last thing would be, let's set this this information, this equation and R squared value. I'm going to click on that, hold the left mouse button, and I'm going to drag it someplace where it's kind of in the middle of the chart, so it gets it away from the actual graph and the trend line. And now I'm going to select everything that's inside there. So that's a click and hold and drag. And when you let up a, well, right mouse click, darn it. Do it again. Go inside the box, click and drag. There, that's the menu I'm after. This menu lets you work with the font and the font size and a few other things about it. And what I'd like to do is that comes up as a 9-point font. If you click the arrow next to the 9, it gives you a bunch of different options for the size of the font. And as you drag your mouse across there, it actually shows you what would happen if you clicked on that. I'm going to go up to the 12-point, click on it, and that leaves it as a 12-point font, which I think is much more readable. And at this point, let me unshare the screen. And I'm going to stop the recording.